Hello everybody and welcome to another episode, and today I just received Peak Focus! For those of you curious, one a day is good. For those of y'all who are probably in high school using it as knockoff Adderall as opposed to weight loss pills, yes, people do utilize anything with vitamin B12. First of all, people, Monster has vitamin B12 in it. So if anything, go for Monster. That's why when they put on the back, great for co-eds, yes, that is true. It is definitely good for that. It does kind of enhance, but there's all this other stuff in it that just kind of it dilutes it. Does that make sense? It dilutes it a little bit, so you do feel something, but it's got this other crap in it. You know, it's like ginseng and stuff. I mean, that's good, you know. You and stuff like this, you do get ginseng and a bunch of other stuff, but if you're in middle school, Monster's really good. Otherwise, I would use Redline, honestly. You have to be 18 to buy it, though. Redline definitely is made in a lab. It's not like a fancy... I mean, it is made in a lab, designed to enhance focus and alertness, but it's also meant for working out. Just like a lot of kids in school would use hydroxycut, you'd see the principal pulling out the huge bottle of it, you know. And I'm like, dude, first of all, why are you bringing that to school, the whole container? Two, I mean, I'm not gonna criticize, but I mean, seriously, you gotta bring the whole thing to school. What are you doing, selling them? Dude, first of all, you only carry like a few on you at a time. Be like, sorry, dude, I'm sold out. You're gonna have to wait till tomorrow. That's just it. You should have pre-ordered. Nah, I'm not promoting anything like that. I'm just saying, me, I actually do have trouble focusing. I really do. For a lot of you who haven't heard me play through the game, it's just I just can't fucking focus for the crap. I think everything is everything. Honestly, if you're one of those people who open up the capsule, be prepared. It tastes like ass. Pardon my French. But that's just that. Honestly, I would suggest not, though. I mean, the first 1 or 2 days, sure. Strictly take no more than 1 to 2 a day. It says that on the bottle, and I trust it. You'll read in the comments on Amazon, there's this one a-hole. I think he actually has ADHD, because he says they don't really work so well. 1 a day is good. So for those of you in high school, it's cheap, it's free, you don't have to have any ID or anything. You can just go buy it on Amazon. If you have Prime, well, if you're in high school, let's face it, you don't have it. So it's going to be $15 for you, but that's still cheaper than the others, which are like $30. And if you look up the ingredients, the others, really, you're just going for a bigger bottle, and they probably have a bigger quantity per capsule. But just strictly 1 a day. It is Alpha brand, for those of you familiar with Alpha Titan. For those of y'all who work out. It is a Alpha brand. And it is... I mean, it's blurry, but you can tell it says Alpha. It is an Alpha brand, so and a lot of Alpha brands, well, even Goatweed, really. For those of y'all who work out, you know what I'm talking about. Stuff like that. It's all natural. It's all herbal. That's why it's legal. That's why you can buy it on Amazon. If you're not in high school, I wouldn't suggest taking these at all. First of all, just stick with Monster. Really, you don't want to have to go with me. I think I really need this. This really does help me out. I think I have ADHD. Whatever. I have something. Stick with Monster. It's not healthy, but it's healthier, sort of, even though that's concentrated in the lab. This is just really mashed up powder, herbal stuff. These are Chinese herbs, people. Alpha definitely goes with Chinese, old school Chinese remedies. And let's face it, if an 80-year-old Chinese lady can pull off 30 and do as much work as a 30-year-old roofer down south, I think I think it's worth $15. That's pretty cheap. It is you can buy bigger bottles, but uh, they did have a 60 capsule one, but not of peak focus, I think. Well, maybe, but eh, you would save money buying the bigger bottle, though. No, it was a different brand, but I want to try this. I wasn't really familiar that it was Alpha brand until just now, actually. But one, uh, yeah, I'm one to open up the capsule and pop it in, but it, some tells me there are people out there who are going to do it anyway, and they're not familiar with their limits and stuff. So, all right, but one a day though. You should never, even though it says 1 to 2 a day. Uh, just try to stick with one, unless you just absolutely gotta have that second a day. Um, Honestly, if you're gonna do two a day, I would take one in the morning and then one in the afternoon because it does say take with food, preferably. Usually, if it emphasizes do take with food, uh, even if it's kind of, um, it's definitely something you need to probably take. Uh, Even though food does kind of water down the effects, it's the fact of any type of stimulant as such that is to enhance awareness. Uh, uh, it's definitely going to lower your ambitions to eat, so definitely do that. But like I said, I actually really find them useful. I actually do use them for their intended purpose to increase my awareness, to help me focus throughout the day, because I do have trouble keeping focused on some things. You know, I, I really do. I mean, if you talk to any of my teachers, I was just not apt at doing the work. I tried, I just, nah. I'll remember what you're teaching me. I will verbally tell you the answers, all the answers, right on the spot, exactly how you want to hear it, whether you want an open answer by my perception. A lot of science teachers will, if you have an a-hole teacher, a lot of y'all are familiar with some strict teachers. I'm not going to name names, especially one who went to Haralson County. He always start off with that. All right, time for the elephant in the room speech. I wouldn't say he's an a-hole. He was actually one of my favorites, actually. He probably didn't like me, but he was one of my favorites. I did have to take his class twice. I don't really get how. Well, the first time I just didn't do the work, you know. But, pardon my French. But you will get that type of teacher to where he wants you, or she wants you to give an answer by your perception. Because yes, you could give off the dictionary or book definition, but do you really understand what that means? Because those teachers go beyond you just knowing the answer. They actually want you to understand. They're the ones to actually teach. They actually want you to leave. They don't want you to just know the answer to put on the test. They actually want you to leave knowing. They want you to go through your life saying, I actually understand that. I actually know what's going on. So, if you did want a career in such category, you actually have understanding. And when something goes wrong, you'll actually understand what's wrong and why it's wrong. Does that make sense? So do pay attention to teachers. A lot of teachers actually frown upon a perceptual answer. A lot of people think the a-hole teachers are the ones who want the dictionary definition. And that's why by high school, you're just thinking, by high school, yes, try to be familiar with the dictionary definition for tests, because it's not going to be a perceptual response that you'll be able to mark, unless it's a written part, which, let's face it, it's never a written part. But for those of y'all who do want to pursue a career, do keep in mind, try to understand perceptual answer. And what I mean by perceptual answer, I mean, for example, eutrophication. Eutrophication is when there's an excess of minerals and stuff, such as nitrogen, phosphorus, that seep into a, you could say, dictionary definition, like quarry of water, however they want to word it, and it creates blah blah blah, increase algae, and then there's a few other. I actually kind of answered them all and care to only remember the way he wanted them to be remembered. So this is the real answer he wants. Eutrophication is when there's an excess of. Well, actually, I kind of just gave you the answer. There is a dictionary definition. Look up eutrophication, but pretty much what he wants to hear. Sometimes it's longer than the definition, mind you, the perceptual answer. But you know, eutrophication is when there's an excess amount of phosphorus and nitrogen. Dictionary will probably just say of some kind of mineral or whatever, and it essentially just fertilizes algae. See, yeah, I could say, and it contributes to algae, whatever the that. Well, actually, that is eutrophication. You know, the increase of algae. But it essentially wanted you to say it fertilizes the algae and it suffocated the fish because it covered the top of the water and sunlight couldn't. You know, it absorbed all the sunlight and oxygen. That's really what he wants you to say. Excess amount of minerals and or excess amount of minerals like phosphorus, you know, fertilizes the algae and it chokes out the fish. That's really all you gotta say. Eutrophication. Excess this chokes out this. Well, it feeds this, which chokes out this. And then they'll go as far as, so why is that bad? Like I said, if you don't understand what's going on, you really don't know why it's bad. For example, what if you had a job where you had to care for fish, but then there's this algae growing and you don't understand eutrophication? Alright, I know it's an excess of something. I don't understand what those terms are. But if you understand eutrophication, fish are choking out, you spot that there's a lot of algae. Alright, clearly there's a farmer nearby using a lot of fertilizer for his crops, and it's running off into my stream, killing my fish. It's feeding the algae, killing my fish. You wouldn't know that, because you wouldn't know what eutrophication means. And you didn't understand you just know the definition. You wouldn't actually know what's going on, so you wouldn't be able to pinpoint or even hypothesize an issue. Even if that's not the issue, you know what's happening, so now you got to find the source of where all these minerals are coming, excess minerals are coming from. And I use that as an example because that's like the biggest term everybody had a trouble with, believe it or not. The one I didn't have, believe it or not. I read the dictionary for fun, first of all, so it's like whatever. So I do all this. I'm great at vocab. But I just wanted to get that out of the way. Just wanted to promo it. Okay, for those of y'all who are just, you really can't get a doctor's script, but you do think it would benefit you, truly benefit you. I do want to throw that out there because I really think it helps me through my day. I really do. I can actually do things that I wasn't able to do. For example, you know, my camper's kind of messy, and I think I'm going to clean it in a little bit. I just got these today. I just tried one. It works in its own time, but it's definitely not something you're going to tweak on. So don't try to use it to tweak. Like I said, I strictly use it because I actually do benefit from it. So with that being said, I hope you all actually go and do research on a lot of herbal stuff. Hope you all incorporate some of the ingredients into your daily diet so you do not have to waste as much money on those and or have to wait. You know, you can just go to the store and say, hey mom, dad, can't think we could get some of this to cook, you know. I got some cash, we'll pay, you know. Because that's what I do. I usually look at the ingredients, and if it's something that's convenient for me, I'll actually go ahead and just cook food. I'll cook it in with my food because I don't really like taking concentrated stuff because that's when you start accidentally taking excess. And yes, you're probably getting irritated by that little spot, but I'm letting that grow out for a reason. The first time I cut my hair is so I usually go by like this little line right here, regardless, and then I butt with my ear, so I only take off a set amount. If I take off a little less or a little more, it's always just about. So I'm just letting that grow out. I do rough cuts to start with, then I let it grow out, and then I slowly perfect it. I do that with my beard too. It's whatever. But so for those of y'all who actually do have trouble and really are trying to find a herbal thing, but you're always questionable as to, do I really want to spend 15 here? Do I really want to spend 20 here? Or even $50? Because a lot of these, this just happened to be one of the cheapest. The next cheapest was $30. Um, and that would have been with Prime shipping. So with Prime shipping, this is $10. Still, you would save because it's 15 as opposed to a potential $40, 35 to 40. But after that, they're all $50 to $60. Some are even as far as $80 a bottle, and you're probably only getting a month's supply. So this really does. It's a definitely a boost. Otherwise, if you're 18, you're into drinks. If you prefer drinks, Redline is definitely good. I drunk that all through high school. My mom would buy it for me, whatever. But Redline is good. You can usually buy them singles at the stores, but you get ripped off just buying by the case. They're pretty much being banned altogether because they're just so awesome. People OD on them all the time, so do be very careful. Me, I will drink about I will sip it throughout a day, and I will sip about a quarter of it throughout my day. Half is a serving, and then everywhere there's a warning, even on the side, on the top of the cap, on the side of the bottle. There's even a little gauge, a little tear to where you, like on a lot of juices, where they just, let's just peel the paint off and call it a level or a little amount bar, you know. On top of that, it has dashes, it has the bar, it has the serving, it even has a circle around the serving, and it has the whole label is pretty much a giant warning sign label. Even the cap, it says in bright red letters, warning, caution, read label. So do read the label, do understand the ingredients. You never know, you might be able to just make a home remedy at home and incorporate it with your food. So over time, it's definitely going to be an over time thing if you do it with food, but I think it's worth it. That's pretty much what I do. I always try to just incorporate it with food because I prefer doing that. One, because it gives me something to do, something productive, you know, cooking. And it's a lot healthier and safer, and you don't have to risk accidental overdose or whatever. Because yes, sometimes our brain is not as affected as our heart or something, so we take more. It's like a it's like a blood thinning pill. Now they have these people who have heart attacks or prone to heart attacks to give you a blood thinner essentially, and that's to help with that. And then they even go as far as a lot of blood thinners activate all areas. This one specifies just one. So if this part's healthy, you're not gonna feel weird in this area, and it's gonna be strictly in the area as needed. So that's why stuff like this, I just try to cook it, you know, that not cook with it, but find the ingredients online or at the store and then incorporate it in my food, and it's that way it becomes more permanent, you know. It's just a slow, steady, it just changes a little bit, rewires things more efficiently, effectively. These, a lot of pills are just so concentrated, it's instant. And then when you do come down off them, your brain, it kind of crashes hard, and that's why a lot of people don't take Adderall, because it gives them headaches. And that's why I try to incorporate a lot of stuff like that into my food, because it's doesn't give you the headaches when you come down from it, and it's a lot more pleasant tasting. You can make it taste however you want, even if it's food that tastes like butt. Like, there was one diet I had, I had plantains, porridge, all this tastes like butt, dark chocolate, and yeah, if you smelt the most rank fart, excuse me, that you could taste, that's how you would know what butt tastes like. So for those of y'all who are questioning, how do you know what butt tastes like? It stains your tongue. Because if you can smell it, there's particles, gets on your tongue. So technically, if you smell a fart, you're eating it too. So for those of y'all who smell a fart, I wouldn't say I smelt the fart. I would just suck it up. Because then the person can say, well, that just means you also ate my poo. Congratulations. So, that's that. Let's be grown-ups here. Unless it's really, really awful, then just... And plus I have trouble sleeping, so I don't want already, so I don't need anything to make it worse. So, like I said, I do take it for the intended purpose. Well, the responsible intended purpose. I mean, yeah, the intended purpose is to be more aware. Yeah, I could be using it for the purpose, but my intent is responsible. I just want to get that out there for those of y'all who really do struggle. I hope I provided a safe, legal answer. Please do not abuse this, because maybe one day it will become illegal. So please use it responsibly, within reason. For those of y'all, you don't need to get high. For those of you who feel better, for example, when you smoke weed or when you take this or that, I'm not going to specify anything other than weed. You like the feeling it gives you because it makes you calm, it makes you, or whatever, it makes you feel like you can do something. I always try herbal because it always works just enough to where I can do this and it not rewire my brain like to the math, It's just, it does what it gotta do. I can live life happy and just, well, maybe not happy, but you can live it. For those of y'all who don't live it happy, you can live it blissfully and just, I feel good about myself. I'm bored, but I feel good. I'm not like excited or anything. I'm just feel good. I'm not depressed either. I feel good. It's just an average day. Sometimes that's all we need, is just an average day, people. But anyway, that's pretty much going to be this episode, me talking about that and how I go about things. I really do try to stick with herbal remedies. I do try to stick with and being able to incorporate it with food. Incorporate the ingredients. It's just a lot safer. It's a lot more fun, actually, to cook, I actually might go on Chop Kitchen, and for those of y'all who actually want some recipes, for those of y'all who know some of the stuff I do try to mimic, and for the fact that I can still achieve the same effect by cooking, for those of y'all who want the same effects as you would get from this, but a nice healthy meal at the same time, do comment below. And I know a few recipes, but otherwise I'm just going to tell you, look them up. Look up the ingredients to these, see if that's something you can find at your local store, or something you might have to order. Alright, who cares? Go have fun. It might be a little bit more expensive to do it that way, but it's something that everybody can benefit from. Your family, and they'll appreciate you for cooking it too. It's a good meal that actually benefits, So that's what I try to do. um, all the time. With I'm always going on some weird diet every week. It's like something different, you know. Oh, I diet for this, you know, get more muscle. Diet for that, you know. Expand my mind a little. But a lot of the stuff like that are old Chinese remedies, so you're really not gonna afford those, or not afford them, but you're not really gonna find them unless you order them, and that takes time, and people want it now. 2 day shipping with Prime, otherwise you're waiting about a week. Still no big deal. Uh, but do cook. Cooking is a great, amazing hobby. I'm actually making this video to kind of lead y'all away from having to use or abuse substances. So keep your head clean, but still you'll be able to achieve the same effect as if you were on a substance, but instead of hurting yourself, you're actually benefiting yourself for the long haul. Yeah, you can have a temporary fix that's amazing, or you could kind of do a slow burn and just do, man. It's all about how you, man. Just gotta work out, man. So work out, you know, even if all you do is just punch at the wall, or, you know, look at yourself in the mirror while you're punching, and, you know, all you do is basic stretches, do that. Get your adrenaline pumping. That also helps contribute. And you think I'm probably talking BS, but you see the stuff, you know, I actually read the ingredients to a lot of these, and really, there's stuff you can find at a local grocery store. It's going to take you a month, as opposed to, like, right now, but it's going to be a bit more of a permanent fix, because then your brain's whole chemistry kind of re-registers, but for the better. And, you know, that's why some people love spicy food. They got iron stomachs, man. Them Indians, iron stomachs, man. Chinese food really, I mean, Indian food really isn't that bad. It's actually really delicious. The reason why they say it's bad is because it gives you the shiz. And it's not because it's bad, because I said put hot sauce on it, not lava. Shit backwards. But, you know, Chinese, they weren't, we didn't have pills back in the day. Yeah, you could say, yeah, but you had a nice cocoa plant. Not really. Back in the day, yeah, there was cocaine, yeah, there was reefer, ayahuasca, peyote. I think ayahuasca and reefer is the same thing. No, I think they're different. Well, they're obviously different a little bit. One might be a specific. Shows how much I actually know, or how much I actually care about other substances. It tells you I'm definitely focused on more on cooking. I don't even really know half the shit I'm talking about right now, but you get what I'm getting at. That was really only for the esoteric if you happen to be in that region. If you weren't in that region, back when I'm talking about, yeah, you had imports and exports, but not really. It was taking months, years even, to sail from there to there, so you're really relying on diets. Chinese, they always happen to be by the shore, and they ate fish for centuries. Fish have vitamin B12, which is what you find in a lot of weight loss pills, which you happen to use. And how do they get vitamin B12? You can say, oh, but it's like zinc. There's a difference between the mineral and the chemical. A little bit. But the difference is, these are what they are. Vitamin B12 is vitamin B12. You find vitamin B12 in Monster, in weight loss pills, which a lot of kids utilize, and I say kids because pretty much kids utilize them as Adderall, more pills like this. I don't know if this actually has that. It might have just strictly Chinese remedies. Well, it might have vitamin 12 because that would be part of Chinese culture. But also, it's somebody else. This is the modern era, so they're kind of picking and choosing what they think is best. Does that make sense? They just happen to have Chinese remedies in it. I really can't argue with Chinese. I really can't. Herbal or not. They know what they're doing. They've been that way for centuries. So everybody wants to be like a Viking. Everybody wants to be like this and that. But they didn't have fancy pills. They didn't have steroids. It was all about diet and working out. All they had was time to work out. Definitely work out. Um, I mean, when you think about it, they didn't have cell phones. They didn't have TV. They had going out, killing people, and plundering. But in order to do that, you had to have muscle. Even the ninja, all they did was train. They didn't have fancy pills. Yeah, they had some nice remedies. They might have had some cocaine too. Some nice cocaine plants. But not only did they use these herbs for the right intent, for good intentions, but they also did exercise and have a nice diet. They were very strict with their training as well. They would train hours on end. And a lot of the farmers, when they were, uh, and had the Japanese foot on their chest, holding them down, metaphorically speaking. Well, literally too, with a sword to their throat. Yeah, you get the picture. But they didn't even really get. A lot of them probably didn't even get to train. They probably spent all night training. They literally sacrificed their sleep, and they were probably working tired. Like I said, they were probably on cocaine too. But still, even if they weren't on cocaine, they would have forced themselves awake. Because when they trained, they didn't really understand too much of the effects of herbs. Yes, they understood cocaine, probably the cocaine plant. I'm sure they had cocaine. I know the Vietnamese sure had their cocaine. I mean, how else are you going to take 7 shots to the chest and still come at point blank? Like, I'm as close to my phone. Like, this is how I'm holding my phone. That close. I'm shooting you 7 times in the chest. You're still shanking at me with a knife. Yeah, they had their cocaine. So, Chinese might have too. But even if they didn't have cocaine, even if they were in a cruddy position where it was just them, they still had the strict discipline to exercise. They had the strict discipline to eat what their secret home remedies, or when they could. And don't forget, these were also in weaker dosages. Even if they could concentrate them, really, what was the quality like? Regardless of how good the quality really was, it might have been really top-notch quality. It might have been better quality than today. Probably not. Now we got these fancy labs and stuff. But as far as home remedies, it was probably highly concentrated. But regardless of whether they had access to this or not, they were disciplined. They disciplined themselves. So, for those of you who are struggling as well with addiction, I hope this little speech could help a little bit. I know pretty much I'm just saying, dude, you just gotta suck it up. Really, that's all you can do. You could go to a help clinic. Really, all they do is provide support. You're just not the only one doing it. Back in the day, Vikings trained together, ninjas trained together. I mean, the two probably didn't train together, but in their separate groups, the groups trained amongst themselves together. I get it. You need somebody else to train with. Some people, we just can't focus. We can't do yoga. We'll pay $30 on a yoga membership. Maybe more. I don't know how much yoga's worth. Does that make sense? Yeah, sometimes we need other people to train with. So, try to find someone to train with. If you can't, like I said, even the ninja, even the Vikings, even knights back in the day, regardless, they had the discipline to train themselves. If you seriously care about it, you'll go out and you will force yourself to have the discipline, and that's something you got to rewire your brain. And in order to do that, you got to have a good, healthy diet. So, try to stick with healthy diets, even the most basic healthy diet, fruits and vegetables. That's a good start. to start rewiring brain. Bananas are good for stamina, tomatoes are good for your heart, and that's part of the diets I would give you if you commented below asking for some. Onions and pork. A lot of this, yeah. I mean, I would have you combine certain specific ones together that operate on the same function. You want stuff good for your heart? I'm going to tell you all the things that are strictly good for your heart so you can kind of concentrate it. I would inform you of that, and that is something you do kind of have to focus on concentrating. You still want to concentrate it, but you're not doing it chemically or anything. You're just, you're breaking it down to a science, sort of, based on a chemical, but you understand the concept of what I'm talking about. So, oh, also I'm letting this grow out so nobody really thinks it's just a mohawk. Although it would make a pretty cool mohawk. But, yeah, that's pretty much going to be this video. I'm going to make another video, but I really hope y'all found this inspirational. For those of you who see me, you know, if you think throughout my videos, you think, wow, this dude really knows what he's doing. He's got this going. I wish I was as hardwired as he was, or high-wired, however you want to say it. Good diet, man. I haven't really been able to train really or eat well, so it kind of sucks. I would train with this one guy, but I did post a video that I put private for the esoteric. I will allow to watch that such and such video, but I do explain why I don't really get out much. I do explain why I'm not able, or why I'm really afraid to, you know, sometimes you get picked out by certain people. It might even be people you thought should be trusting, you know, protecting you, but really they pick you out. For a lot of y'all who kind of catch my drift, mainly a lot of you riff rafts, you know what I'm talking about. Or maybe people who are treated like riff rafts, you all know what I'm talking about. I can share your pain a little bit. So, but I don't let it faze me. I still have the discipline to sit here, train regardless of these or not. I still do my wall punches. I don't punch the wall, but you know, I punch toward the wall. So, but do research on plantains. Yeah, plantains. And Family Guy, plantains aren't the tiny bananas. If you ever seen a plantain, pardon my terminology, but a plantain, for those of y'all who don't understand or with the ignorance of Family Guy, I mean, Family Guy really is smart. He's very, very clever, especially with that. Could you say it in a libelous sentence? Blah 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 are lesbians. For those of you who don't know what liable means, well, a lot of y'all understand what liable means. Is he liable? But do you really? It doesn't mean to be reliable. Especially when they use make up words like libelist, or what I saw about a case on Bernie who killed this someone Nugent, some lady. They made a movie about it with Jack Black. It's called Bernie. I admit it probably shouldn't have been a comedy, but you know, one of the lawyers actually used the term Hollywoodized. Really? Hollywoodized? So a lawyer can make up a word, but I can't? If she says it, it's sophisticated, but if I do it in class, I'm just called a retard and made fun of? Fuck you. Just fuck all of you. And I'm not gonna pardon my French on that, because I mean that. Fuck all of you who share that, who think this is okay, but this isn't. That's like my only pet peeve. Just because they went to school doesn't mean I could have made up that word Hollywoodized. I would have had the same thinking. Does that lower her? Or does that raise me? And that's what irritates me. Like, for example, I always say reconcilial. I don't know, I can't always use the term recondite. Terms like bull, and eyes, IZE, those are meant to throw at the end of a word to alter it in such a way. Those are made for that. Though I think affix is the end. I know there's a prefix, then there's a suffix, and there's an affix. Pre, before, a for after? I don't know. Suffix in the whichever one goes at the end. That is what it's meant for to begin with. You're supposed to throw it at the end of a word. Beautiful. Full. Beauty. Beautiful. You just threw 3 letters at the end. Hollywood eyes. You just threw 3 letters at the end. Does that make you stupid? Reconsidual. I mean, at least my made-up word sounds more sophisticated than Hollywoodized. Yeah, that's just my pet peeve. I know I was talking about Bernie, I was talking about something, and I lost my train of thought because my pet peeve got the best of me, because that is how badly people irritate. They literally take a part of my life. They just took a part of my life. Those people just literally stole my strand of thought and let it dissipate. Not directly. Oh yeah, libelous. But pretty much it just means, pretty much by law, you really have to admit or agree to it because it is empirical and or it is true. It is fact. So in order to avoid slander, whether it be omitting, I mean, you can omit it, but if somebody says it, you kind of have to admit it. And that's where Family Guy gets clever. But for those of y'all who do not, and that's what I mean, I always get off topic, and that's not till the end do you really understand what I'm talking about. You know, because I have to explain it before you really understand it, because I can't just say it out, because then it sounds just as stupid. So it's damned if I do, damned if I don't. So just kind of listen to the bits and pieces of the whole thing, and then... But plantains are the, again, part of my terminology, are the horse stick of bananas. The horse stick. So for those of y'all who don't know what a plantain is, it's like that thick. A lot of times it can be the length of your whole forearm or even longer. I mean, it's not exactly that thick, so sometimes they're like that, sometimes it's, you know, it's between there and there, you know. Thicker than a banana. However thick a banana is to you, according to your hand, just kind of give it a little bit that much thicker. Not all the way around. Not for the diameter, just for the, you know, like if you were to cut a circle and you just need a little bit longer out here, that's what you're doing, just adding it out there. It's still this, but with a little extra. That's what I'm getting at. So you'd actually probably have to... But I just want to get that out of the way. Family Guy, really? I'm sure you've seen some small plantains when they first start growing. I don't know why, wherever you were, called them plantains. But those are not plantains. Unless they have midget plantain brand or strand that I am ignorant of. I have not looked it up. But I have looked up images of plantains, and all I have received was pretty much the terminology that I spoke before. That's about it. Oh, that's like my only other pet peeve, though. Well, I'm gonna sign off. I hope you found this inspirational. I hope y'all kind of have a better understanding of some things that y'all are probably thinking, wow, I really need to rethink my life choices.